Hey, welcome to a new day. Yesterday we built an app which sends out an email to our Gmail account or other email accounts, and that email contained news about a particular category. Today we're going to do two things. First, we're going to refine this app, because currently this app is only sending news about Tesla in my case. So we're going to make the app more dynamic, more flexible to send out news about other topics. And then we're also going to deploy this app on a 24/7 server. So a server, a computer which runs continuously, and it will run our script every day at a particular time. So with that, I'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks a lot. In this video, I want to make 5 improvements to the program. The first improvement is, besides the title and the description of the news, we also want to add a link so that the user can click on that link and read more about that particular news. That's the first improvement. The second improvement is we want to show less news, because currently there's 100 of them, so perhaps 20 should be better. The third improvement is we want to show only news in English, because currently we have some other languages here. For example, this news in here. Fourth improvement, we want to add a subject to the email. And fifth improvement, we want to have the category more dynamic, because currently Tesla is hard-coded here in the URL. So we might want to also have the possibility to show other topics. Let's start with the first improvement, links. To add links, you have to go in here where you construct that string. So we add the title, we add a break line, we add the description, and then we add 2 break lines. So the 2 break lines are between the different news. But before we add the 2 break lines, we want to add one other break line, so plus \n, then plus article URL, so like that. So that should do it, but let me split this line because it's getting too long. So there as well. And I'll try the code to make sure it works. And let's check the email. So there we go, we have links. Right, now the language. To fix the language issue, you should add a new parameter to the query. What is a parameter? Well, the URL is made of different parts. It does have the core part first, which is this one in here. So let me show you the complete URL first, as it was in the beginning, without splitting it across multiple lines. So that's the complete URL. Now this is the core part up to here. So everything question mark. Then we have the parameters. So this here is a parameter, Q is the name of the parameter, and Tesla is the value. And then we have this symbol which separates the parameters from each other. So we have the sort by parameter, which defines how the news will be sorted. So these are sorted now by published date. And then we have this symbol again to separate the other parameter from the previous one. We have the API key, the name of the parameter, and the value, which is this value here of the API key. Now we can add other parameters. So at the end here, you want to write the and symbol, and then language is equal to n. So the parameter name and the value, which is English. So that's also a parameter of this API. And you can find the parameters of this particular API in the newsapi.org website. If you go to documentation, and you go to the endpoints, and you go to the everything endpoint. And here you should find all the names for the parameters. So language is one of the parameters, and you can pass these languages there. So we have sort by, as well, and other parameters too. Q, which defines the topic, which is currently set to Tesla. So Now let me improve the view here. So I'll split the string, add the parameters here, and the next parameter after the symbol, and the next one after the symbol. So this makes more sense. It's more readable, I think. So if I run this code now, and I check the email again, I should now see only news in English. Yep, that's the case. So it seems to be working. So let's go back and let's limit the emails to 20 only. For that, all you have to do is go to content articles. So this is a list. We're iterating over a list here. And this list has 100 items. But if you use this list indexing, it has to be the first 20. So 0 to 20 or just up to 20, the same. This now should give us only about 20 emails. Let's see. Yeah, it's about 20. So that's fewer news. Next, the subject. And the subject of the email is part of the body of the email. So as you might remember from the previous email lectures in the previous apps, we used to add the subject on top of the message of the email body. So that would be subject, a colon, a space, and then write something for the subject, such as today's news, plus a backslash n operator, because that's a syntax. So the message should be something like subject, today's news, and then we have a break line, and there goes the body of the email, which is the news. So news number 1, news number 2, etc. So you get the idea, I suppose. And I'll split the line in here and try out the code. Let's see. Yeah, that's where the subject is. So it's working. Everything seems to be looking fine. Lastly, the last change I want to make to this code is to fix the hard coding issue. So when something is injected into a value, for example here Tesla is part of this string, that is known as hard coded. So this is an hard coded value. To make this more dynamic, we could create a variable here, let's say topic, and then you say Tesla here, and then you convert this into an F string, and instead of Tesla, there you have a placeholder, and then you write the topic there. Oh, but be careful here, because this string is spread across multiple lines. So actually the F should be at the line where the placeholder is located. So it should be in here. So with that, you can run the script and check the email, and yeah, there we go. That's still news about Tesla. So it's working fine. So that gives us some more control over what we want to display here. So it's better to change the variable name in here instead of modifying the value of the string itself. So with that, we have done all the 5 improvements. So we're ready to commit the changes. So that's day 28. And you might want to mention here all the improvements. Add links, specify language, limit news, add subject, and control the category. Now, it's a better idea to actually make a commit whenever you want to make one single change. So in this case, it would be better if we added the links as we did here. So after we did this change, we should have committed the changes, and then we did the other change and we commit the other change, and in each commit message we only write that particular change that we did. However, I'm not doing that because it would be too much for doing it in a video. Those would be too many pauses. So that's something to keep in mind. You want to commit whenever you make a change, and then you test the program if it's working, and if it's working, then you commit. Yeah, so let's commit. And that's for this video. Thank you for following. Throughout the previous videos, we have been using the request library. We used it in two different ways. First, we tried to get the content of the Yahoo website, and we did that by using the text property, as you see in here. And then we used the request library to get JSON data, and for that, we used the JSON method, as you see here. Now, in both those cases, what we got was text data, so non-binary data. But how do you get binary data? So how do you get an image? How can you download an image with the request library, or a zip file from the web, or any other file that is not text? That's what I'll show you in this video. So let's go to the browser and perhaps go to a Wikipedia page just to get the link of a file. For example, let's work on an image file. So I'll work on this image here. I'll download this image with Python and the request library. So for that, I need to know the URL of the image, because each file, each image which you see on websites, they have a particular URL which locates the image in the server where the website is hosted. To get that URL, you can right click over this image in Wikipedia and go to Open Image in New tab. And that will open the image on your browser, and you can copy the URL in the address bar. So I'll copy that. And since this is out of the context of our app, I'll just open a Python console and show you the code in here. So first I will create a URL variable to store the image in this variable. Right, so we have the URL variable containing the string pointing to the image. So make sure that the image name ends with an extension, an image extension such as JPG. That means the URL is correctly pointing to that image. So once I have the URL, then I want to import a request. Then I'll make a request object, or you can also say a response object actually, because the requests.get method actually gives you a response of the request, so it makes more sense to call the variable request. So here goes the URL. So with that we have a response, right, which doesn't look anything exciting, but we have this number 200 is an HTTP code, which means the response was successful. Now, we used to work on the text property earlier, but this works when you are loading text data, such as web pages. So web pages are text, but an image is not text. So what you need to use is response.content. So these are bytes which make up the image, and in the command line you can not see the actual image, but you see the actual raw code that makes up the image. So we need to get that code and write it in a file. For that we use the open function, which you have learned before. So with open image.jpg, it was a JPG file, and we need to open this in write binary mode. So for text files, when we created text files, we used to write just W, but this is a binary file, it's not a text file, so we need to write WB as file, a colon, press enter, we indent here 4 spaces, and then we say file, so that variable dot write, and here we write the response dot content, which points to these data, to these numbers. So with that you press enter, enter again, and in the root directory of your project you should see an image.jpg file. So let's refresh, let's reload the disk. Yeah, here it is, and that's the image. So that's how you can download an image using a particular URL, the URL which points to the image. So that's the code again, request.get URL, and then you create an empty file and you populate that file with the content of the response object, and that's it. The same technique can be used for other files. So if you have the link to a file which is hosted on some websites, on the cloud, anywhere on the web, then you can use basically the same code and use the same WB mode here to create the file. And it will work basically the same. Of course, if it's a zip file, you should give here the correct extension in the file name. Yeah, with that, thanks a lot. See you later. Hey, it's great talking to you again. I'm very excited to hand you a very interesting task as part of today's exercise. The task is this. You need to create a website which displays the astronomy image of the day, together with this title and this description about that image. So every day visitors visit your website, a different image should be displayed in here. So where do you find this image? Well, of course you can't get this image out of nothing, you need to get it from somewhere, and you will get it from the NASA Open API. So please go to api.nasa.gov and you should see this web page more or less. And you have the option to generate an API key here, so please provide your name, surname, email, and an API key should be displayed in here after you sign up. Then if you scroll down, you will see the Astronomy Picture of the Day API. So there are several APIs in here, but the one you need to use is this one in here. So I'll not give you any more help. You can explore yourself the documentation of the API. You have the parameters here. You can pass to the URL, an example, etc. So you can build this website with Streamlit, as you might guess. And yeah, I wish you good luck. See you in the solution video. Hey, in this video I'll show you the code which constructs this website. And the code is here. So it's 26 lines of code, and I'll go through the code now and explain you what it does. So we need the request library and the Streamlit libraries. And here I prepared the API key, this one in here, and the URL. The URL, I placed it as a string, so split in 2 lines, and it's an F string, that's the second part. And the API key goes here. You could also place it directly in here without using an F string. Either way, it's fine. Then I created a response object using the request.get, providing that URL, so the URL pointing to the Astronomy Picture of the Day API. And I got the data as JSON. So at this point, if I debug this program, just to show you the data look like this. So it has the explanation, the title, and the URL. So that's it, up to here, and then we have these 3 lines. So I decided to extract the title of the image, the URL of the image, and the explanation of the image in 3 different variables. So this is not necessary, you could also use this directly further down without having variables. Either way is also fine. And then I downloaded the image here. So first I decided to create a variable where I store the file path that the downloaded image will contain. So I've used quite a lot of variables here in the code. And then I have this response object. It's another request that we're doing, but this time we're requesting the image URL. The first time it was the URL of the API, but now we get the image URL, which was inside the data which we extracted from the API. And then I opened a new file using the WB mode. So that's the name of the file, img.png, and I wrote the content of the response object, which I created in here. And then this is about Streamlit, so I wrote a title which corresponds to that. I wrote the image using that image file path to render the image. And finally, I wrote the explanation using a write method. So that's the code. It's quite simple. And that's about this video. Thanks, see you. Hey, today I will introduce you to a pretty cool service in relation to Python. And that is Python Anywhere. Python Anywhere is a service which offers you a server, a computer, which runs 24/7. And you can use this computer to host web apps, but also to schedule tasks, to schedule Python scripts for execution at a particular time every day. So for example, you can schedule a script which sends out an email at a certain time to a particular email address. And you can also have a script perhaps which scrapes a value from a website, some data from a website. You can also schedule this script to be executed at a particular time every day. And you can have the script store the data in text files inside the server, and later you can retrieve this data. So Python Anywhere allows you to do that, and I'll show you how to do it. So go to pythonanywhere.com and you need to sign up for an account. You have several options there, but a beginner account which is free should do the job very well. So you should create a beginner account, and once you do that, you should go to the login menu and log in with your new account there. Then you want to go to the dashboard. That's where you have all the tools that you can use in Python Anywhere. So now I'll take you through how to use Python Anywhere and its features. So first of all, you might want to go to consoles, the consoles menu, and here you can see what is the latest version of Python that is supported by Python Anywhere. In my case, it is 3.10. Now, if you had created your account on Python Anywhere earlier on, a few months ago, perhaps a year ago, then the latest version might be 3.8 or something else. But if you created a new account, it could be 3.10 or 3.11, depending when you created that account. So that is something to keep in mind, because we will use that version when we schedule tasks. So just remember the newest version for now, and then go to Files. Now in Files, you will see some default files, but also files you have uploaded. So in your case, you haven't uploaded anything yet, but I have uploaded some files before for other projects. So you should see them here. So these are the files that are in your computer. So you basically have a computer here. And this computer has Python installed, and in this computer you can upload files. So this computer doesn't really have a graphical user interface and a graphical operating system as you do on Windows or Mac or Linux, but you have this browser to do like basic tasks on this computer, such as uploading files, and you can open these files as well to see what they contain. So in our case, since we want to schedule our main.py file for execution, so we want to execute this script at 8 AM in the morning, for example, then we want to upload the script to these files. Now I have uploaded it before, so I'll just delete it and upload it again so that I show you how to do it. So just click on the upload a file, go to main.py. So you need to upload all the scripts of your project. That includes main.py, but also send email.py. So main.py was uploaded, then upload send email.py, and that file should be listed here as well. So these files are uploaded in this directory. So please copy that directory and then go to tasks. Now in tasks, I have a task which is already running, so I'll cancel it. So you should see something like this. Now in here, you should paste that path and then make sure you have a slash here and then write main.py. So main.py is a script which contains my code. So this is the entry point of the program. When I execute this program, I execute main.py, right, in PyCharm. So make sure that you point to that file in here. But you should also write before this path, you should write what interpreter, what Python interpreter do you want to execute this file. So in my case, that would be Python 3.10 and a space. So Python 3.10 space and then the path. In your case, it should be the latest version of Python that is supported by Python Anywhere. That's why I showed you the consoles first, so you know what versions you have there. So what's happening here is that we're telling Python Anywhere to run this command. So to run that script with that programming language at this particular time. So if you want to run this, let's say 2 minutes from now, just to test it, then you might want to place here 17. In my case, the current server time is 1740. So I want to place it like 2 minutes after that. So the time is 42 now. This should be around 1742 for now because it's not being refreshed. So I should place it something like 1744. Yeah. So it's about 2 minutes from now. And then press on create. So this script will be executed at that time and it will be executed daily. So I should wait a few minutes and see if I'll receive an email to my email address. So it seems like I received a new email, so that it is. If you didn't receive an email, you should go to the logs, which you can access in here. So that should tell you what happened. Now in my case, this says that the task was completed at this time. So that was the time I scheduled a task for execution. And in your case, perhaps you have some errors which could be displayed in here, or sometimes you might have a message somewhere here which says that the Python command was not found. So in that case, you should go back and check if your command is correctly. So in my case, it's Python 3.10, so I should check on consoles. 3.10 is a correct command, so for me it's fine. So make sure you don't have spaces in this command, but you have a space between that command and the path. Or you might have errors underneath here, which are errors produced by the Python script. So these are the same errors you might be getting in the PyCharm command line. So if your code has an issue, that error will be displayed here as well. So that's something to keep in mind. And yeah, that's how you schedule tasks for execution in Python Anywhere. So Python Anywhere has the task feature. That's the main feature of Python Anywhere, but also it has a web feature. Here you can host web apps. So previously in the course, we used the Heroku servers to host our Streamlit app. But you can also use Python Anywhere to host certain apps. However, Python Anywhere does not work with Streamlit apps, so you cannot host Streamlit apps on Python Anywhere. For a list of apps you can host, you can click on next and you can see them in here. So Django, Web2Py, Flask, Bottle, these are web frameworks, Python web frameworks used to build web apps. So we're not going to use Python Anywhere for web apps for now. And what I wanted to show you was this, that's how you can schedule tasks. Another feature also, if you go to consoles, you can open a Python shell by clicking one of those versions, and that should display an interactive Python shell for you on the browser where you can code. So there you go, that's Python 3.10.5 in my case, and you can code here. But of course this is an interactive shell, so the code will not be saved. in this console. To go back to the dashboard, you can click there and go to dashboard. And the console is still open there, so you can press there and you can access the same code you wrote earlier. So that's about Python Anywhere. Thanks for following, and I'll talk to you later.